Keep pounding this into your, thank you for that. I'm going to keep pounding this into your head until you've got it. It's brainwashing, but it's brainwashing for a good cause. All right. We're going to continue the conversation on contact, capture, connect, appointment, close, and follow up. And today we're going to be on page 98, drop down to the middle of the page under closing. And here's what Gary has to say. An appointment is the real outcome you seek, and it requires real scripts to get you there. So the purpose of the conversation is to get the appointment. There it is. Been saying that forever. And Gary Keller says it right there in the middle of page 98. The word close means end in mind, and that you're bringing something to a conclusion. So a couple thoughts on that. First of all, read The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. And one of the habits of highly effective people is they begin with the end in mind. One of the other habits is all things are created twice. First, we create them here, and then in our thoughts, and then we create them in existence, in the real world. So all things are created twice. Now, the other thought that comes to mind is the communication formula, which is A plus B plus C equals D. And D is the desired outcome. A is the person that you are speaking to. B is the message. C is the method, as in face-to-face conversation, phone conversation, text, email. And D is the desired result. Always start every conversation with the desired result. Always think about the desired result before you have a conversation. This is a little bit of a bunny trail, but important and important. If I'm going to have a conversation with Shirley and I choose to have that conversation via text message or email or written form method, I have to be super careful that I don't end up with the wrong D, with the wrong desired result. Because when we communicate in written words, we can't communicate emotion, or we're communicating the wrong emotion and the wrong message. For me, text messages and emails are for the purpose of, we're meeting tomorrow at 4 o'clock. That's it. Look forward to seeing you then. Or I'd like to schedule time to talk with you on the phone. Are you available at 4 p.m. or would 3 be better? That's it. All right, that was a bunny trail. The word close means end in mind, and that you're bringing something to a conclusion. Oh, one more thing, write this down. Closing is nothing more than the natural conclusion to an effective conversation. Closing is nothing more than the natural conclusion to an effective conversation. That's true if you're having a phone call and it's a lead generation call. It's true if you're sitting at the listing table and, Larry, are you ready to get started? There's my close. End of the listing presentation that has probably 5,000 words in it. My close is the most simple, straightforward close you could possibly use. Larry, are you ready to get started? That's it. All the time. Now, if he says yes, awesome. Let's start filling out the paperwork. If he says anything but yes, my follow-up close is, Larry, on a scale of 1 to 10, just out of curiosity, 1 being you don't like anything I said and you can't wait for me to leave, and 10 being I'm the right agent for the job. Where am I? Now, he's going to say 8, 9. If he gives you anything less than a 7, pack up your bags and go. You're looking for at least a 7, 8, or a 9. If you get a 6, thank you for meeting with me. Have a great day. Now, what would it take to make me a 10? And you're going to find out what the objection is. Other than that, is there anything else that would make me a 10? You're going to isolate the objection. Cool. If I were willing to work for 4%, would you hire me today? Yes. Awesome. Now overcome the objection. Once you've overcome the objection. So Larry, are you ready to get started?
Yeah.
It's just that simple. Don't make this difficult because it's not. All right. Bottom paragraph, middle of the paragraph. Setting up the meeting is your responsibility. It's your responsibility. It's not the responsibility of the person you're speaking to. Whether or not you get an appointment falls 100% on you, your skills. This is a skill-based business. Some agents think the meeting happens naturally without doing anything. Other agents act as if that's all they care about. Both fall short. The right approach to close for a meeting is the only approach. Just ask. Ask to meet, ask when to meet, ask where to meet, ask if you should, could, want, or must meet. Yes, 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 and yes. Just ask. Nothing is going to happen if you don't ask. If it does, it's pure luck. And that's no way to run a business. There's a lot of real estate agents today. They're running a business based on luck. They have been for the last couple of years, and the market's super hot and it's working. They're selling homes and they think this is a great strategy, or they think it's because they're awesome. And sorry to tell you this, they're heading for a rude awakening. Shifting markets. Oh boy, you guys are not going to like me. Let me see, there's 16. Let's see how many I have left after I say this. Shifting markets reveal the frauds. All right, I paused just long enough to see how many people would jump off the call. Nobody did, so that's cool. Nobody left the room here either, so that's a good thing. People want to buy, but hate to be sold. People want to make the right decision, and they fear being talked into the wrong one. People want help, but are hesitant to ask for it. Think about that. Next time you're on a for sale by owner appointment, you're previewing the property, you're walking through that home. How many times are you offering to help them? How many times are you looking for an opportunity to help them? Because remember, even though they told you they're never going to list their home, they're interviewing you as a listing agent the moment they greet you at the front door. The moment they greet you at the front door, Lucas, they are asking themselves, would I hire this person? Does he care about me? Can I trust him? Does he know what he's doing? Now, they're never, well, more than likely, they're not going to come right out and ask you, what would you do to get my home sold? But that question is in their head. I promise you, look for an opportunity to offer help. Just out of curiosity, what kind of feedback are you hearing from buyers who are looking at your home, Lucas? Role play with me. Just out of curiosity, what kind of feedback are you hearing from buyers who are looking at your home?
Well, they love it, but they submitted offers, just not what I've been looking for.
Yeah. So you're hearing all really good things, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Now, and I can see why. You have a beautiful home. I love your home. But I'm just wondering, script. If I were to call them and ask them for feedback, what do you think they would say to me? You think they might give me different feedback as a realtor than they're giving you as the homeowner?
I suppose they would.
Yeah. What if I did that for you and then I called you and gave you their responses? Would that be useful information?
I would appreciate that. Yes.
Sure. If I left a sign-in sheet for you today and you had your buyers sign in and send me name and contact information so I can call and get feedback, or I can drop by and pick it up, would that be valuable for you?
Yes, it would.
I'd be glad to help you with that.
Thank you very much, John.
All right. Was that a good demonstration of how? Okay, good. Do that. But by the way, what do you have other than demonstrating the value that you bring to that seller? What else do you have? Buyer leads. Holy cow. I've been sharing this forever, and I wonder how many people are actually doing it. All right, let's go to page 100, middle of the page. Many agents ask, why am I always being told to close, 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 close early, close often? There is a time-tested reason. While people talk in absolutes, they seldom think in absolutes. Most of the time, a no isn't an absolute no. Wow. No is not a word that lives in my vocabulary. No simply means not yet. People will never change their mind, but what they will do is make a new decision based on new information. No doesn't necessarily mean no. It just means not yet. Now, for me, that means you haven't provided me with enough information or the right information for my no to become a yes. And a yes isn't an absolute yes. There is a continuum. See figure 20. Yeah, there you go, top of page 101. All right. Every no can become a yes, and every yes can become a no. Bottom of the page. As a salesperson, there it is again. Gary Keller is telling you you're a salesperson. So next time Richard Bass tells you you're not a salesperson, just say, Richard, hey, shift, bottom of page 100. Don't do that. You're going to get me in trouble. All right. As a salesperson, you aren't attached to their decision. Don't be attached to the outcome. Write it down, write it down, write it down. I'm going to go on to say the less attached you are, the more successful you are. In my mind, my process is I don't really care if they say yes, because I have my standard. I know how many people are going to say yes every month, and I never miss the goal. So if you say yes, cool. If you don't say yes, cool. By the way, this is more about you than it is about me, because yes benefits you more than it benefits me. You guys get that? You aren't attached to their decision. Your goal is just to help them make one. You aren't attached to their decision. Your goal is to help them make one. Just make a decision. Just jump off that high dive. Remember when you were kids and you walked out onto the edge of that high dive and the diving board, right? And you looked down at the water that was probably 10 feet below you and it looked like it was a mile below you. And you thought, oh no, I'm not going to do this. And maybe you stood there for a while and you just looked at the water. Now you have two choices: take a leap of faith or turn around and do the dreaded walk back through all the kids who are on that ladder trying to get up to the high dive. Is it just me, or did anybody else experience that? Okay, they're standing on the edge of that high dive. Now, jumping into the water is hiring a real estate agent and putting their home on the market. Turning around and walking back down the ladder is, I'm going to wait. Your job is to walk out to the edge of the diving board, hold them by the hand and say, let's make this decision together. I'll help you make the right one. Matter of fact, I'll jump with you. As a team leader, does this sound familiar? If you sat on a recruiting appointment with me, I probably used that analogy because I've used it hundreds of times with real estate agents sitting in my office. Being a team leader, meeting with real estate agents, is no different than sitting at the kitchen table and talking to somebody about listing their house. It's the same conversation. All right. Take yourself off mute. Talk to me. Questions, comments, thoughts.
So I actually had a comment. So the jumping off the diving board thing, we've all done that,
Mhm.
right?
Oh, good. It's not just me.
No. Oh, man, I'm like, how did this get so high? Like, I don't remember it looking this high. The thing is, once you jump, you're like, I loved it. It's so
Mm.
exciting. I think once you get over that scary part, you're like, this is great. I want to do it again.
Yeah. We're on a lake in Tennessee visiting some friends, and we're just cruising. And we come to this spot where there's this really high, they're mountains. And there's a spot where a bunch of kids, people, adults are jumping into the water. It's probably 10, maybe 15 feet higher than a high dive. I don't know if it's 20 feet, but it's up there. Lacey was probably maybe 10 years old. She decides she's going to do this. Now, the only way that I would let her do this if Colin, who was 16 years old, went with her. Cool. Except Colin jumped first. Not cool. Now, here's my daughter looking at me in the boat, panicked, refusing to jump, asking me to come get her, which means I have to climb up this mountain, which I don't want to do. And then I have to pick my daughter up and climb back down the mountain as I'm holding her, or we can jump in together. The moral of the story is don't do what I did. Learn from other people's experience. By the way, I climbed up and got her, and we jumped in together, and I was scared as ever. I'm like, wonder how deep it is. I wonder if there's any rocks in there. I wonder if there, yeah. All right. Bunny trail. I saw a hand up. I'm sorry. Who was next? Yes, Lucas.
So I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mel Robbins. She made the book called The 5-Second Rule, where pretty much your brain has 5 seconds to make a decision before it actually starts thinking. So you can have a 5-second window. So it's like, instead of hitting snooze, count down from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because the numbers keep going. After 1, it stops. So that's not really what I was getting at, but she puts that an example that when she still goes out on stage for speaking engagements, she always feels nervous and gets like a presence of fear. But you can always trick the mind and tell yourself that you feel excited, because the body can't necessarily tell the difference between fear and excitement. So if you tell yourself that you're excited to do this, the fear kind of dampens and you kind of just shoot your shot.
Love that.
James Shaw was talking about.
Good stuff. Thank you for sharing that. All right, I want to hear from a couple of you on Zoom. Take yourself off mute. Talk to me.
John, I have a thought or maybe
Yes.
a question.
Sure.
Not really sure. So in regards to closing, right? It's, we're who, what, when, where, why, like, we talked about that. And we know that it's the conclusion to an effective conversation. But at the same time, we need to portray, because you had said this, or Gary Keller said this, that you can't only care about the closing.
Right.
But yet we're to close frequently and often.
Yep.
Right. So just trying to mentally kind of visualize that, right?
Well, okay. So Michael, it depends. Great conversation, by the way. If you ask me if I'd like to get together and talk to you about selling my home, right? Are you asking for me or are you asking for you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was weird. Oh, the Cash App makes a sound of money hitting. Yes.
John, by the way, you don't need to say the Cash App, you just say Cash App.
Oh.
Just saying.
Oh, I'm glad everybody thought that was funny.
Well, it's like James saying the Facebook.
Oh, I did that. And I actually designed my own credit card. So yeah. It says Rainmaker, by the way. So I love that. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Michael, so who are you asking for? When you ask me if you close often, right?
Yeah.
But don't
Yeah.
be attached to the outcome,
Yeah.
right? Who are you asking for? For me or for you? Now I'll answer the question. The answer to your question is your motivation is based on helping them, not on you getting a commission check. And when you got the right motivation, have to ask often, ask always, because it's for them.
Right.
They need your help. They may not know it yet, or they may be afraid to ask, or they're standing on the edge of that diving board and they just need you to come out and grab their hand and say, let's go. I'll go with you. You've got this.
Right.
By the way, when they say no, it doesn't mean you're going to stop asking. You're going to keep asking. You're never going to stop asking, because eventually they're going to make a new decision based on new information. Don't forget, if they're saying no, it's because they don't have the right information yet, or motivation hasn't shown up yet. The moment motivation shows up, the answer changes. One more person.
Well, to piggyback on that, it's exactly what you said earlier in the conversation. For me, anyway, the way I look at it is I am coming from contribution. I already know what I'm worth. I already know what I'm bringing to the table. So I don't really have to convince somebody else that they need my help. I'm going to show them, and they're either going to hire me, which is great, or they're not going to hire me, which is okay too.
Yeah.
Some
will.
Take yourself. Yeah, some will, some won't. So what? But
Next.
when you take yourself out of the transaction, in fact, the only time I start to get passionate about a transaction as far as, oh my God, is it going to close, is right around a week before the closing. I don't stress over it at the listing appointment. I don't stress over it during inspections. I don't stress over it during appraisal. But once we've cleared all of those things, then and only then do I start focusing on, all right, now we got to make sure we get this to the finish line, because that's when it matters. If you don't clear the first three things, closing doesn't matter. Therefore, my commission doesn't matter.
Well done, Lance. And as you and I have talked about before, when you hit your standard for contracts pending, you won't stress over whether a deal is closing next week or not either. You won't be attached to that either. If you've always got 10 sales pending, if that's your standard, and you've always got 10 sales pending, if one of them is going sideways with a week to go before closing, you're not stressing over the one. Doesn't mean you don't care about getting their home sold. Don't hear that. It means that it's about serving them, not you getting a commission check. The difference is I'm not stressed out over whether a deal is going to close or not because I need the money. When I don't need the money, I am just coming from a place of serving, providing the best service I can in order to get you to the finish line. It's about you. It's not about me. Gagada. I just
Hi,
love
John.
saying your name. I just love saying your name.
Oh, great. Good. You do it well.
I've been practicing.
Yes, I agree with Lance, and he's a seasoned realtor. And now for us, the rest of us who just started and have to get an appointment, it's a good point. Don't be attached to the outcome. And what I end up finding myself in, that I then just talk too much instead of just wrapping it up, because I'm so attached to the outcome that I want to just say and give you the information for you to just say, oh, wow, you're great. Let's meet. So that is very important. Like you said, no matter what they say, great, let's meet. Great, let's meet. I don't want to pay you. Let's meet. It doesn't matter.
There you go,
So,
girl. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. So solution, ask questions and then you won't keep talking, right?
Yes.
Just keep asking questions until they say, let's meet. How many questions
Yes.
do I need to ask before you say, let's meet? All right. So in closing, I just want to share a couple things. First of all, Lance, holy cow. Thank you for the email yesterday. Guys, Lance shared with me, and I'm not going to share it. He shared with me his
You can share
bold
it.
letter. Okay. Thanks, Lance. I'll share the highlights. He shared his bold letter with me from 2019. So when you're in bold, you have an opportunity to write yourself a letter and you put it in an envelope, you send it to bold, and they're going to send it to you a year later because you're writing yourself a letter 1 year into the future. Now, Lance sent me his letter from 2019. He said, I am so excited that it's a year later and I've accomplished this. I've accomplished this. I've accomplished this. I've accomplished this. And everything on the letter he's done. Everything. One of the, yeah, did you hear that, Lance? You got major kudos from the room.
Thank you.
And
There was like a dozen things on there.
There were. Yeah, there were, you know, including, this is, I don't know how you pulled this one off, but including daughter and son-in-law, or did I get that backwards? Is it son and daughter-in-law?
No, you're spot on. Yep.
Daughter and son-in-law. He's talking a year into the future, and he's talking about how excited he is about his new granddaughter that his daughter and son-in-law will be having, that at the time he writes the letter, they're not pregnant, guys. And he's got a new granddaughter or grandson, Lance?
Coming in October, a granddaughter.
Granddaughter.
Amazing.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, I remember when he announced it.
Incredible.
I was so excited.
Yeah, he talks about how many investment properties he owns, and he owns exactly the number that he says in the letter. He talks about his new waterfront, how excited he is to live in his new waterfront home. And they just bought a home on the water. Guys, this is powerful stuff. It really, really is. Hey, if you could create the future, by the way, you can. If is a bad word in that sentence, by the way, because it conveys the fact that you can't. And you absolutely can. So let me say that different. If you're going to create the future, why not create the one you want to live? Think bigger. What's the worst thing that can happen? All right. By the way, don't think about that. My point is, if you miss it by just a little bit, you're still living an amazing life. Holy cow. All right. Time to get to work. Oh, Rainmaker. Thank you to all of you who jumped on Cash App. That's for you, Michael. You jumped on Cash App and purchased a copy of Rainmaker. I appreciate you. I ordered 48 books from the publisher yesterday. It takes about 2 weeks for them to come. I have 10 books that are on the way. So I'm hoping they arrive today or tomorrow. If you're on that first group of who've purchased a copy of the book, please check with me before you make a trip to the office to make sure that I have them in stock. If you've ordered it and I'm sending it to you and I'm shipping it to you, it'll come FedEx. And I will send it next day as soon as they arrive. So I realize books get turned around very quickly today. You can order it from Amazon and have it tomorrow. If you order it from John Dietz, it might take you a little while because I don't have them yet, but I will get them to you as quickly as I can. And if you haven't ordered a copy yet, you can just send me a text and then jump on Cash App, Michael. All right, time to get to work. What is work? Work is 20 conversations, not 19, not 18, not 17. Because when you have 17 conversations because it's close enough, you didn't have the 18th conversation, which could have been $1 million listing that you didn't get because you didn't have the conversation. Make care calls, not sale calls. Always lead with gratitude. Thank you for taking my call. I appreciate you. Bring value to every single conversation. Focus on getting an appointment, getting a referral, adding somebody to your database, building a relationship. Find somebody today that is thinking of selling their home. It doesn't matter if it's 30 days from now, 6 months from now, or a year from now, because a year from now, you're going to need listings. Meet with somebody today that is thinking of selling their home, and then follow up with them forever, because you reject rejection. And no is not a word that lives in your vocabulary. No simply means not yet. Remember, people will never change their mind, but they will make a new decision based on new information. Get ready, Yagada, because I'm coming to you today. And when you follow up forever, you're creating emotional proximity, which simply means when I get serious about selling my home or buying a home, I'm going to hire the agent who is closest to me. And when you follow up forever, Yagada, and they make a new decision based on new information, that new decision will be to
To hire me.
yes. I love it. All right, everybody. We're going to jump off Survive to Thrive. We're going to go right into practicing and role playing